The crystalline towers of the Galactic Council headquarters gleamed under three suns, casting prismatic shadows across the assembled delegates. Ambassador Katniss stood before the semicircle of alien dignitaries, her hands clasped behind her back, trying to maintain the diplomatic composure that had taken her years to perfect. "The Vraxian horde approaches," announced Council Prime Zixthor, his translucent form pulsing with anxious bioluminescence. "In 47 cycles they will reach the outer rim. We require Earth's military assistance." Katniss had expected this. Humanity's reputation had spread across the galaxy like wildfire after the border wars. The other species had learned, sometimes painfully, that humans were relentless, creative, and absolutely terrifying when threatened. What they didn't understand was that Earth's official military was actually the civilized option. "The Council recognizes humanity's unique capabilities," continued Zixthor, choosing his words carefully. "We request 1 battalion of your finest warriors." Katniss felt her stomach drop. She knew what was coming. Before she'd left Earth, the Security Council had made their position clear. All official military forces were tied up in the Proxima crisis. If the Galactic Council wanted help, they'd have to take what was available. "Honored Council," Katniss began, her voice steady despite her internal dread. "Earth's conventional forces are currently deployed. However, we can offer you something equally effective." "Excellent." Zixthor's glow brightened. "How soon can they arrive?" "Immediately. I've brought him with me." The chamber fell silent. "Him?" asked Delegate T'Charin, her scales rippling with confusion. "You said 1 battalion. I said equally effective." Katniss took a breath. "The Council asked for defense. We're providing it. I present to you Kyle Hendricks, designated Florida Man." The chamber doors exploded inward. Not opened, exploded. Through the smoke emerged a human male in torn shorts, a tank top that read "Hold my beer," and alligator skin boots. His mullet defied at least 3 laws of physics, and he was grinning like he'd just won the lottery. "Y'all called for pest control?" Kyle bellowed, dragging what appeared to be a modified airboat engine strapped to his back. Neo, Katniss's assistant and the only other human present, buried his face in his hands. He'd tried to warn them. He'd written 17 memos explaining why this was a catastrophically bad idea. But the bureaucrats never listened. "Ambassador Katniss," Zixthor's voice was barely a whisper. "What is that?" "That," Katniss said with forced cheerfulness, "is humanity's secret weapon. Shall we proceed to the briefing?" The Vraxian horde arrived exactly on schedule, their war fleet blotting out the stars. 10,000 vessels, each crewed by battle-hardened warriors who had conquered 73 civilizations. They had expected resistance, fortifications, defensive satellites, perhaps a fleet of Earth's supposedly fearsome warships. Instead, they found Kyle Hendricks in an open cockpit shuttle, drinking something that scanners identified as Monster Energy mixed with pre-workout powder, wearing nothing but swim trunks and wielding a weapon that defied classification. "Whoa!" Kyle's war cry echoed across the communication channels. "Y'all picked the wrong galaxy, boys." The Vraxian commander, a creature that had personally ended the Andromedan Empire, stared at his viewscreen in confusion. "What is this? Florida Man?" Kyle didn't wait for formal combat protocols. He accelerated directly toward the flagship, his shuttle trailing flames and apparently held together entirely by duct tape and confidence. The weapon in his hands, which Neo later explained was a modified plasma gator, whatever that meant, began charging with an ominous whine. The first shot took out 3 Vraxian cruisers. Not because of superior technology, but because Kyle had somehow overclocked a mining laser, combined it with unstable dark matter, and powered the whole thing with what he called pure Florida energy. "That's for hurricane season," he screamed, firing again. Neo watched from the Council's observation deck, updating his incident report in real time. "Subject has now," somehow lassoed an asteroid. "Subject is now." Oh God, he's surfing the asteroid toward the enemy fleet. This is unprecedented. Katniss stood beside him, her expression carefully neutral. Inside, she was calculating how to possibly explain this to the Senate. The Vraxian horde, conquerors of galaxies, battle-tested and fearless, made a fatal mistake. They tried to understand Florida Man logic. They analyzed his attack patterns, looking for strategy. They searched for tactical reasoning behind his maneuvers. There was none. Kyle operated on pure chaos and an apparent immunity to consequences. He hijacked a Varaxian dreadnought using nothing but a crowbar and aggressive negotiations. He weaponized gravitational anomalies by, as he put it, just kind of poking them real hard. He befriended a space kraken and convinced it to help him just for funsies. Within 6 hours, the Varaxian commander requested parley. Within 7 hours, the entire horde was retreating. Within 8 hours, Kyle was trying to keep the space kraken as a pet. Despite Katniss's increasingly desperate objections, the council chambers were silent as Kyle stood before them, somehow more disheveled than when he'd arrived. Behind him, Neo frantically compiled damage reports. The casualties, 0. The collateral damage, immeasurable. The number of interstellar laws broken, still being calculated. Florida Man has successfully repelled the Varaxian horde, Sixthor announced, his glow uncertain. We are grateful, though we have questions about the methods. Yee-haw, Kyle interrupted. Y'all got any more space gators need wrestling? I'm just getting warmed up. Katniss stepped forward smoothly. I believe Florida Man has earned his rest. The Council's defense needs have been met. But the reports, T'Charin protested, say he's still trying to launch himself into a black hole to see what happens. Neo nodded grimly. That's accurate. We're working on containment. As they escorted Kyle out, which required, promising him a buffet and directions to the nearest beach planet, Sixthor approached Katniss. Privately, Ambassador, he said quietly, humanity's conventional forces, they're not like him, are they? Katniss smiled. Oh no, Council Prime, our military is professional, disciplined, and follows strict protocols. Then why send him? Because you asked for defense, not war, Katniss explained. Our soldiers would have fought the Varaxians. Florida Man, he confused them into surrender. And between you and me, that's humanity at our most dangerous. Not when we're trying to be scary, but when we're genuinely just being ourselves. As she walked away, she could hear Kyle in the distance already planning his next adventure. Something about jetpacking into a supernova. Neo fell into step beside her. This is going to be so much paperwork. Worth it, Katniss replied. The galaxy learned an important lesson today. What's that? Never ask humanity for help unless you're ready for Florida Man. Somewhere in the cosmos, the Varaxian horde was still fleeing, their sensors picking up Kyle's parting message. Broadcast across all frequencies. Y'all come back now, you hear? I'll be waitin'. The galaxy would never be the same.